AOC.
Yeah, but first, I think it's a moratorium on white dorks on Zoom calls.
Okay.
You know, we have we have Fastest and we have fan mail, and I just can't listen to those Nate Silvers and these Saliza people that bites into this glorious show. AOC. What? She's kind of fun in a silly but earnest, wrong but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked, half-opinion.
Once more, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez entered the public sphere with the assurance of someone who has recently come across Wikipedia and made the decision to base the economy on the fun fact section. And just when you thought it couldn't be any more ridiculous than her acting like she knew economics, Greg Gutfeld shows in with a sneer and the rhetorical equivalent of a fly swatter, ready to clear up the circus.
Needed some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new ideas. It drives me crazy. AOC has never introduced a fresh idea or issue in her life. The reason why she gets along with Bernie is because she's like an 80-year-old leftist in a used bookstore. I mean, she may look fresh, but she's as stale as an abandoned futon on the street. It's like, I listen to her, I go, I heard that at Berkeley in 1983.
It began with a camera microphone and no understanding of what she was talking about, as many legendary AOC moments do. During one of her typical campaigns, she enthusiastically explained to freshmen who had just watched those cable shows how billionaires are bad, money is false, and we can solve all problems by yelling, "Tax the rich," louder than reality. Then came Gutfeld, a man with the patience of someone who has had to listen to AOC describe interest rates as if they were a social construct and the hilarious timing of a roast master.
Yes, I pay people to wear handcuffs. But she did this because she knew the media would obey. Let's watch the tape. She'd be a great mime. Like a Latina version of Marcel Marceau. In fact, here she is later in her jail cell. Of course, AOC was mocked on social media for imitating being handcuffed, which is a change from her usually being mocked for imitating a congresswoman.
Imagine AOC armed with her trademark expression of confusion, indignation, and fervently advocating that the economy should operate as a collective endeavor and that jobs are a fantasy of capitalism. Even if no one puts in the effort, everyone receives an A. Watching this ideological piñata swing wildly against unseen adversaries, Gutfeld sipped metaphorical tea. He didn't have to argue, as is the case with any decent status. He simply watched her dissolve, radiating the same intensity as someone attempting to use interpretive dance to program a VCR.
AOC has taken a break from doing nothing to get into a beef with the Twitter chief. On Tuesday, she tweeted, LMAO at a billionaire earnestly trying to sell people on the idea that free speech is actually an $8 a month subscription plan. That's a reference to Musk's plan to charge people $8 a month for verified blue checkmark status. But he hit back tweeting, your feedback is appreciated, now pay $8.
Naturally, you also brought up the Green New Deal once more. Indeed, the legislative fever dream in which cows are terminated, airplanes are prohibited, and everyone lives in environmentally friendly yurts powered by emotion. It's like seeing someone try to sell a ghost blender when AOC pitches this proposal for the 738th time. Good feel, confusing, a little frightening, and largely noisy. He can be fair without a struggle. Although she previously purchased a Tesla, she would really like to spend the $8. Additionally, he posted a picture of some unsightly AOC stuff on Twitter, attempting to snatch up the expensive item for $58. It seems very capitalistic of you, which, in your opinion, makes you wicked. However, everybody who is paying attention also believes that you completely let the math fail her, since in reality, she means that when she claims it will pay for itself, she hasn't used Excel since college.
Fair, she'd love to spend the $8, but she already bought a Tesla. He also tweeted a photo of some ugly AOC merch he's trying to hawk for $58. Overpriced merch, AOC. Seems pretty capitalistic of you, which according to you makes you evil. And according to anyone paying attention, also makes you full of.
Remember her performance when she defended her economic beliefs. Making direct gestures while describing how unrestricted government spending is essentially simply monopoly money with fancy fonts is the epitome of a serious legislator. While groceries and blender prices are posing as luxury goods, inflation is acting like it's on a Red Bull. Yes, let's intensify the economic savvy of someone who believes that scarcity is an illusion of capitalism. She once suggested that the government should guarantee jobs because nothing could go wrong with a recruiting procedure that is as sluggish as a tortoise and molasses chosen at the DMV. However, your employer now controls your lunch break, and a committee that only meets on alternate Wednesdays decides what to eat without even altering his tie. Viewers were practically plucked from Fantasyland. AOC was selling no passport required. With her typical fever dream policy theater and quotes from failed group initiatives, it was like seeing someone free hostages from an escape room filled with vegan slogans, Marxist memes, and inspirational sayings. The scene had been established by AOC, but Gutfeld entered like a sardonic paramedic, quietly guiding a bewildered crowd out of a blazing structure composed of flammable talking points.
Don't have any ideas as they operate on half opinions. Like, what if we get rid of cash bail? Oh, let's do it. What happens? You have repeat criminals wreaking havoc. What if we have sanctuary cities? Hey, let's do it. What happens? You have rapists and killers, finding sanctuary, safe haven. What if we give trans rights that we don't have? Well, you just ruin women's sports. You ruin safe spaces. You make kids' lives hell. But you don't think about, they never think about what their ideas incentivize. That would be nice. So where are their ideas going to come from?
If a TikTok influencer channeled Karl Marx's spirit, her economic proposition sounded like it was thrashed out at a computer-fueled seance. Sure, let's print more money so that everyone gets free stuff, she said. Let's also make gravity optional while we're at it and see how it affects air travel. Gutfeld didn't even require a witty reply. He simply held up a mirror to release the ridiculousness. During a power outage, AOC's fans abruptly became quieter. Then Whole Foods, and her logic crumbled under its own weight.
Explains it. They're not meant for you, right? But then you have to ask, okay, then what is this debt forgiveness? Who is it meant for? And when you look at the data, it's upper, white, middle-class, liberal women. This ain't welfare, right? These are well-to-do people. It's a bribe for Democrats on the backs of plumbers, truckers, and everyone else who actually does a real job, unlike me. AOC is the symbol of the entitled sponge. She complains about student loans, but she owns a Tesla. And worse, she owns a French Bulldog. Thanks to Cat Stamp, I know everything about French Bulldogs. And one thing I know, they are so expensive. They're more expensive than any college tuition. You got to take care of them. They're adorable dog, but she owns a Tesla and she owns a French Bulldog. And she wants you or your dad, the electrician, to forgive her student loan. That's BS. Turn in the Tesla, sell the dog. I'll buy it.
The only sound was the distant murmur of a broken espresso maker, followed by startled quiet. As usual, the grand climate panic portion appeared. AOC claims that her characteristic dance of doom, which is similar to Al Gore's PowerPoint, but with more eyeliner and less faxy earth, is on life support and is being tended to with reusable straws and hashtags. 10 years remain. In what began to seem less like science and more like a recurring dream she can't seem to wake up from. She sobbed once more. Even the man who constructed the doomsday clock is likely pleading with her to press the snooze button at this point.